Imagine being told that every moment of your life, every triumph, every mistake, every fleeting joy, and every deep sorrow would be repeated endlessly, without variation, for eternity. Would this idea fill you with boundless gratitude or absolute despair? This thought-provoking question forms the foundation of one of the most intriguing and unsettling philosophical concepts ever conceived, Friedrich Nietzsche's idea of the eternal recurrence. Nietzsche introduces the eternal recurrence, not as a literal truth but as a revolutionary thought experiment. He invites us to imagine a world where time is cyclical, and every event in our lives replays itself infinitely. Far from being a simple intellectual exercise, this idea challenges us to confront how we live, what we value, and whether our lives are worth reliving. Would we curse the endless repetition of regret and failure, or would we embrace life so fully that we would joyously relive it moment by moment forever? Central to Nietzsche's philosophy, the eternal recurrence is a call to reevaluate the meaning of existence and the choices we make. It pushes us to ask, am I living a life I would willingly live over and over again? Unlike traditional views of morality or an afterlife, Nietzsche's idea removes external judgment, placing the responsibility of meaning and fulfillment squarely on the individual. It demands a radical honesty about our desires, actions, and their consequences. In this exploration, we'll uncover the origins of the eternal recurrence, diving into how it fits into Nietzsche's broader philosophical framework, including concepts like the Übermensch and amor fati. We'll also examine its psychological implications and its relevance in modern life. The eternal recurrence is not merely a philosophical abstraction. It is a mirror reflecting the essence of who we are and what we hold dear. But Nietzsche's idea is not unique to Western thought. Throughout history, cultures across the globe have grappled with similar notions of time's cyclical nature. From Hinduism's samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, to the Stoic idea of accepting and loving one's fate, we'll see how the eternal recurrence resonates with universal themes in human thought. This journey is not just an intellectual endeavor. It is an invitation to introspection. By contemplating the eternal recurrence, we are challenged to live more intentionally, aligning our actions with our deepest values. It inspires us to imagine a life so meaningful and fulfilling that we would embrace its eternal repetition without hesitation. As we embark on this exploration of Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, we aim to uncover its transformative potential for personal growth and self-discovery. Together, we will reflect on its implications for understanding life's purpose, shaping our decisions, and embracing our existence fully. So, let us dive into this profound idea and consider, if you were to live your life endlessly, would you rejoice or despair? The answer might just change the way you view your entire existence. Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophical journey was one of profound inquiry and radical thought, culminating in ideas that continue to challenge and inspire us today. Among these, the eternal recurrence stands out as one of his most enigmatic and revolutionary concepts. Nietzsche first introduced this idea in his seminal work, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, where it emerges as a central theme in his exploration of life, meaning, and human potential. The eternal recurrence is presented in the form of a thought experiment. Imagine a demon visiting you in a moment of solitude, declaring that your life, exactly as it has been lived, will repeat itself endlessly, down to the smallest detail. Every triumph, every failure, every joy, and every sorrow would occur over and over again in an infinite loop. Nietzsche does not pose this scenario as a metaphysical certainty, but rather as a psychological and existential challenge. It forces us to confront the value of our lives and the choices we make. Are we living a life so full of meaning and authenticity that we would welcome its eternal repetition? Or would the idea fill us with despair? At its core, the eternal recurrence serves a dual purpose. On one hand, it operates as a metaphysical hypothesis. Nietzsche, influenced by the scientific developments of his time, speculated on the nature of time and existence. If the universe is finite and time infinite, could the repetition of events be inevitable? While Nietzsche did not assert this as a definitive truth, he used it as a framework to explore deeper psychological and philosophical questions. On the other hand, The eternal recurrence functions as a psychological test, a way to evaluate one's relationship with life. It demands that we look at every aspect of our existence with brutal honesty. By imagining our lives as an endless loop, the concept strips away any reliance on external rewards, such as an afterlife or divine judgment. Instead, it forces us to take complete responsibility for the meaning we create in our lives. This idea ties closely to two of Nietzsche's other key philosophical concepts, the Übermensch and Amor Fati. The Übermensch, or Overman, represents the ideal human being who transcends societal norms and limitations, creating their own values and living authentically. The eternal recurrence challenges us to aspire to this ideal, living in a way that we would willingly repeat forever. For Nietzsche, the Übermensch embodies the courage and creativity necessary to embrace life fully, no matter how difficult or uncertain it may be. Amor Fati, meaning love of fate, is another cornerstone of Nietzsche's philosophy. It represents the ultimate acceptance of life, including its struggles, imperfections, and pain. To love one's fate is to affirm life as it is, without wishing for anything to be different. The eternal recurrence serves as a test of Amor Fati, asking us to embrace not only the highlights of our lives, but also the challenges and suffering. Can we look at our entire existence and say, "Yes, I would live this again and again"? This radical acceptance is at the heart of Nietzsche's vision of human greatness. What makes the eternal recurrence so provocative is its challenge to traditional religious and moral frameworks. Many religious systems offer the promise of an afterlife, where earthly struggles are rewarded or punished, providing a sense of closure and moral justification. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence rejects this notion entirely. By proposing an infinite repetition of this life, it eliminates the comforting idea of final judgment or redemption. There is no heaven, no hell, and no escape from the consequences of our actions. Instead, we are called to find meaning and fulfillment in the present moment. This rejection of traditional morality aligns with Nietzsche's critique of what he called slave morality, a system of values he believed was rooted in fear, resentment, and a denial of life's realities. The eternal recurrence undermines this mindset, encouraging us to take ownership of our existence and live with intention. It challenges us to move beyond external validation and embrace a morality based on personal responsibility and authenticity. Nietzsche's idea also has profound implications for our understanding of time and existence. While many philosophical traditions view time as linear, with a clear beginning and end, the eternal recurrence invites us to see time as cyclical. This perspective aligns with certain Eastern philosophies, such as Hinduism's samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. However, Nietzsche's focus is not on liberation from this cycle, but on embracing it fully, finding joy and meaning in its repetition. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, the idea of the eternal recurrence is both a burden and a blessing. It represents the weight of ultimate responsibility, as well as the potential for ultimate freedom. By living a life we would willingly repeat forever, we transcend fear and regret, achieving a state of existential affirmation. In this exploration of Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, we find a concept that is both deeply personal and universally resonant. It challenges us to confront the essence of our existence, asking us to live with courage, authenticity, and a love for life in all its complexity. Nietzsche's vision is not one of despair, but of empowerment, inviting us to create a life so meaningful that we would joyfully embrace its infinite repetition. Friedrich Nietzsche's eternal recurrence is more than just a philosophical idea. It is a deeply personal psychological test that compels us to examine the essence of our lives. By imagining our existence repeating infinitely, we are forced to confront the choices we make, the values we hold, and the emotions we experience. This thought experiment invites us to reflect on whether we are living in alignment with our true selves, or simply drifting through life without purpose or intention. At the heart of the eternal recurrence lies a profound question. If you were to live this exact life, with every decision, joy, and regret repeating endlessly, would you embrace it or despair? This question forces us to look closely at how we live each day. It highlights the weight of our choices and their consequences, urging us to evaluate what we prioritize and whether we are truly satisfied with the trajectory of our lives. Unlike the promise of an afterlife or redemption in other philosophies, the eternal recurrence offers no escape. It demands that we find meaning and fulfillment in the here and now. This thought experiment also illuminates the areas of our lives where regret often resides. Many people carry the burden of past mistakes, missed opportunities, and unfulfilled dreams. The eternal recurrence compels us to ask, are these regrets so overwhelming that we would dread living them over and over again? If so, what can we do to reconcile with these experiences and transform our lives moving forward? This process involves confronting not only our regrets, but also the fears and limitations that may be holding us back from living authentically. On the flip side, the eternal recurrence also shines a light on the joys and moments of fulfillment that define our lives. It encourages us to celebrate the experiences, relationships, and achievements that bring meaning to our existence. By focusing on these positive aspects, we can cultivate gratitude and deepen our appreciation for the present moment. The philosophy urges us to build a life so meaningful and fulfilling that we would gladly repeat it endlessly, even with its inevitable challenges and hardships. Central to this idea is the notion of personal responsibility. The eternal recurrence empowers individuals to take ownership of their actions and choices. In a world where every moment is destined to repeat, there is no room for excuses, procrastination, or blaming external factors. This radical sense of responsibility can be both daunting and liberating. It frees us from the need for external validation and shifts the focus inward, emphasizing the importance of living authentically according to our own values. In practical terms, the eternal recurrence can serve as a powerful tool for decision-making. Imagine facing a major life choice, choosing a career, ending a relationship, or pursuing a passion. The thought experiment challenges you to ask, if this decision were to define my life forever, would I still make it? This question cuts through the noise of societal expectations and external pressures, helping you connect with what truly matters to you. For instance, consider someone stuck in an unfulfilling job, but afraid to leave due to fear of failure or financial instability. The eternal recurrence forces them to confront whether they would accept this dissatisfaction endlessly or take the risk to pursue a more meaningful path. Similarly, in relationships, it urges individuals to reflect on whether their connections are nurturing and authentic or simply convenient and comfortable. By applying this philosophy, people can make choices that align with their deepest values and aspirations. The eternal recurrence also encourages us to embrace the imperfections of life. No existence is without suffering, and Nietzsche recognized this as an integral part of the human experience. The thought experiment asks us to confront not only our joys, but also our struggles, failures, and pain. By accepting these elements as necessary components of a meaningful life, we can develop a deeper sense of resilience and self-compassion. This perspective aligns closely with Nietzsche's concept of amor fati, loving one's fate, which involves embracing life in its entirety, without wishing for anything to be different. Real-world examples of this philosophy abound in the lives of individuals who have turned adversity into triumph. Consider figures like Nelson Mandela, who endured decades of imprisonment, yet emerged with a vision of reconciliation and justice. His life, when viewed through the lens of the eternal recurrence, exemplifies the courage to embrace one's circumstances and transform them into something meaningful. Similarly, artists, writers, and innovators who pour their souls into their craft embody the idea of living authentically and creating a life they would gladly repeat. On a smaller scale, the eternal recurrence can inspire everyday acts of mindfulness and intentionality. It encourages us to savor the present moment, whether it's enjoying a meal with loved ones, pursuing a hobby, or simply appreciating the beauty of nature. By living with awareness and gratitude, we can create a life that feels fulfilling and worthwhile. Ultimately, the psychological implications of the eternal recurrence are both profound and transformative. It challenges us to confront our fears, regrets, and desires, while also empowering us to take responsibility for our lives. By embracing this philosophy, we can align our actions with our values, make more intentional choices, and cultivate a sense of purpose and authenticity. In doing so, we move closer to living a life so meaningful that we would welcome its infinite repetition. This is the true essence of Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, a call to live boldly, authentically, and with a deep appreciation for the gift of existence. Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence is not an isolated idea in the world of philosophy. Across time and cultures, humanity has grappled with similar questions about the cyclical nature of existence, the meaning of life, and how to live authentically. While Nietzsche's framework is distinct, examining parallel ideas in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Stoicism reveals fascinating overlaps and divergences. Together, these traditions illuminate the universality of the eternal recurrence and its relevance across cultural and philosophical landscapes. At the heart of Hindu philosophy lies the concept of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. According to Hindu teachings, life is an endless loop driven by karma, the cumulative consequences of one's actions. Unlike Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, which is framed as a thought experiment, samsara is perceived as a metaphysical reality. The ultimate goal in Hinduism is liberation, freedom from the cycle of rebirth, achieved through self-realization and alignment with the divine. This differs from Nietzsche's emphasis on affirming and embracing life's repetition, as Hinduism views the cycle as something to transcend. However, both philosophies challenge individuals to live intentionally, recognizing the profound impact of their actions on the fabric of existence. Buddhism shares Hinduism's understanding of samsara, but it offers a different path to liberation. Central to Buddhist philosophy is the idea of mindfulness and the cessation of suffering through the Eightfold Path. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from attachment and ignorance, and liberation is attained by breaking free from these constraints. While Nietzsche's eternal recurrence does not aim to escape suffering, it aligns with Buddhism's emphasis on self-awareness and intentional living. Both encourage individuals to confront their existence directly, taking responsibility for their choices and their consequences. In particular, Nietzsche's concept of amor fati, the love of fate, resonates with Buddhism's acceptance of impermanence and the nature of reality. However, where Buddhism seeks to dissolve the ego and transcend worldly desires, Nietzsche celebrates the affirmation of life in all its complexity, including its struggles and imperfections. This distinction highlights a key difference. Nietzsche's philosophy is deeply rooted in individuality and self-creation, while Buddhism emphasizes the dissolution of the self as a path to freedom. Stoicism, a school of thought originating in ancient Greece, also offers intriguing parallels to Nietzsche's eternal recurrence. Stoicism teaches that individuals should accept the world as it is and align their actions with nature and reason. At the core of Stoicism is the idea of amor fati, or loving one's fate, which Nietzsche adopts and expands upon in his own philosophy. Stoics believe that by accepting the inevitability of events and focusing on what is within one's control, one can achieve inner peace and resilience. Like Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, Stoicism challenges individuals to embrace life fully, including its hardships and uncertainties. Both philosophies reject the notion of external salvation, emphasizing personal responsibility and the cultivation of virtue. However, where Stoicism often emphasizes detachment and rationality, Nietzsche's approach is more dynamic and life-affirming. He encourages not just acceptance, but celebration of life's chaotic beauty, urging individuals to create meaning and embrace their passions. Despite their differences, these traditions converge on the importance of intentional living. Whether through the Hindu understanding of karma, the Buddhist practice of mindfulness, or the Stoic acceptance of fate, all emphasize the need to confront life with clarity and purpose. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, while unique in its framing, echoes this universal call to live authentically and meaningfully. Another key parallel is the shared recognition of life's cyclical patterns. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the cycle of rebirth mirrors the repetition in Nietzsche's thought experiment. Similarly, Stoic philosophy often reflects on the recurring nature of human challenges and the enduring wisdom required to navigate them. While Nietzsche's eternal recurrence does not explicitly reference reincarnation or divine principles, it shares the existential weight of these traditions, asking us to grapple with the eternal significance of our actions. However, Nietzsche's approach stands apart in its provocative challenge to embrace life's repetition joyfully. Where Hinduism and Buddhism often see liberation as an escape from the cycle, and Stoicism focuses on rational acceptance, Nietzsche dares us to affirm life in its entirety. This includes not only moments of triumph, but also pain, failure, and uncertainty. His philosophy is a call to transcend resignation and find profound meaning in the act of living itself. The universality of these ideas reflects humanity's deep-seated fascination with the nature of time, existence, and meaning. Across cultures and traditions, people have sought ways to understand their place in the cosmos and navigate life's complexities. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence offers a distinctly modern lens on these timeless questions, bridging the personal and the philosophical. In exploring these parallels, we see that the eternal recurrence is not an isolated concept, but part of a broader human dialogue about existence. Whether through Hinduism's samsara, Buddhism's mindfulness, or Stoicism's acceptance of fate, the themes of intentionality, responsibility, and self-awareness resonate universally. By engaging with these ideas, we gain a deeper understanding of Nietzsche's philosophy and its relevance in a global context. Ultimately, Nietzsche's eternal recurrence challenges us to live a life we would willingly repeat forever, a call echoed in different forms across philosophical traditions. Together, these perspectives enrich our understanding of existence, offering profound insights into how we can navigate life's challenges, celebrate its joys, and create meaning in the infinite loop of being. In our fast-paced, outcome-driven world, Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence offers a profound lens through which we can reevaluate our lives and find deeper meaning. Though rooted in 19th century philosophy, the eternal recurrence resonates strongly in the modern era, where individuals often feel overwhelmed by societal expectations, the pressure to achieve, and the fleeting nature of time. By imagining our lives as infinitely repeating, this thought experiment becomes a powerful tool for self-reflection, encouraging intentional living and inspiring resilience, gratitude, and clarity. The first step in applying the eternal recurrence to modern life is to recognize its potential as a mirror for self-reflection. Nietzsche asks us to confront a provocative question. If you had to live this exact life over and over, would you be satisfied or tormented? This question forces us to take a closer look at our daily choices, relationships, and habits. Are we living authentically, or are we merely going through the motions? In an era dominated by distractions, from social media to the relentless pursuit of material success, this philosophy provides a grounding force, urging us to reconnect with what truly matters. One of the most significant applications of the eternal recurrence is its ability to encourage intentional living. If every moment we experience is destined to repeat for eternity, how would we live differently? Would we spend more time nurturing relationships, pursuing passions, or seeking inner peace? This perspective shifts our focus from external validation to intrinsic fulfillment. It reminds us that every action, no matter how small, carries weight and significance. For instance, instead of rushing through a conversation with a loved one, we might take the time to fully engage, knowing that this moment is part of an eternal loop. In a world where people often feel disillusioned or unfulfilled, the eternal recurrence inspires resilience. Life is not without its challenges, setbacks, and pain. Nietzsche recognized this and urged us to embrace these experiences as essential components of existence. By reframing hardships as opportunities for growth and self-discovery, we can develop a greater sense of strength and purpose. For example, someone recovering from a career failure might view it not as an endpoint, but as a necessary step in their journey. The eternal recurrence reminds us that every struggle has meaning, and it is up to us to find and affirm it. Another transformative aspect of this philosophy is its capacity to cultivate gratitude. In the modern world, where dissatisfaction often stems from comparisons and unfulfilled desires, the eternal recurrence brings our attention to the present moment. It invites us to cherish life's simple pleasures, a sunset, a shared laugh, or the satisfaction of a job well done. By imagining these moments as part of an infinite cycle, we begin to appreciate their beauty and significance. This shift in perspective can help combat feelings of inadequacy or restlessness, replacing them with a sense of contentment and wonder. In practical terms, the eternal recurrence serves as a framework for reevaluating our relationships, career paths, and personal goals. For instance, consider someone who feels stuck in a toxic relationship. The thought experiment challenges them to ask, would I choose to endure this dynamic endlessly? or is it time to make a change? Similarly, in the context of career decisions, the philosophy pushes us to reflect on whether our work aligns with our values and passions. If not, what steps can we take to create a more fulfilling path? This principle extends to personal growth as well. The eternal recurrence urges us to take responsibility for our lives, knowing that every decision shapes our eternal narrative. By confronting our fears, regrets, and insecurities, we can break free from patterns of avoidance and self-doubt. For example, someone who has always dreamed of pursuing art but feels constrained by societal expectations might find the courage to take the first step, realizing that their creative expression is part of their eternal story. Moreover, in an increasingly outcome-driven culture, the eternal recurrence shifts the focus from results to the process. Modern society often prioritizes achievements, earning a promotion, buying a house, or reaching a milestone, while neglecting the joy of the journey. Nietzsche's philosophy reminds us that the process itself is where meaning resides. It encourages us to find fulfillment in the act of creation, learning, or connection, rather than waiting for an endpoint to bring happiness. In addition to individual reflection, the eternal recurrence offers a collective perspective on humanity's shared challenges. It asks us to consider how our actions impact the world, both now and in the future. Are we contributing to a cycle of environmental degradation, inequality, or division? Or are we working toward a reality we would gladly repeat for eternity? This awareness fosters a sense of responsibility, not only for ourselves, but also for the broader human community. Ultimately, Nietzsche's eternal recurrence is a call to live fully and authentically. It invites us to embrace life's complexities, the joys, struggles, and uncertainties, with open arms. By applying this philosophy, we can cultivate resilience in the face of adversity, gratitude for the present moment, and clarity in our decisions. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, the eternal recurrence offers a timeless reminder. Every moment matters, and it is up to us to shape a life worth repeating. Through intentional living and self-reflection, we can transform our existence into a masterpiece that we would willingly relive, not just once, but for eternity. As we conclude our exploration of Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, we reflect on its profound capacity to reshape our understanding of life. This concept is not just a philosophical exercise, but a transformative lens through which we can view our existence. By imagining a life that repeats endlessly, we are compelled to confront the weight of our choices, the authenticity of our actions, and the depth of our relationships. The eternal recurrence serves as a powerful reminder that every moment holds significance, urging us to live with intention and purpose. The idea challenges us to rise above complacency and regret, encouraging a life so meaningful that we would joyfully relive it forever. This isn't about perfection, but about embracing the fullness of life, the triumphs, the failures, and everything in between. It's about affirming our existence, no matter how imperfect, and striving to create a narrative that we would willingly repeat for eternity. As a next step, consider diving deeper into related philosophical concepts like amor fati, existentialism, and other traditions that explore life's cyclical nature. These ideas can further enrich your understanding, inspiring a journey toward living authentically and embracing the beauty of existence.